I have finally uncovered the truth of how reality really works and how to create the life I want to create by simply applying this one single principle. And in this video, I will share the principle with you and we will discover how to apply the principle into your own life. Hey King or Queen, my name is Santi. This channel is all about self-actualization, business, psychology, philosophy, spirituality, and everything I can do to provide you with the best mental tools to navigate the outer reality we all live in. My only mission in life is to empower people to think for themselves, to unlock their mind and expand their consciousness. So that being said, let's get into the video. What is this one single principle? For that, let's travel back to the 1st century after Christ, when a man by the name of Hermes Trismegistus created one of the greatest ancient teachings of them all, a book by the name of the Kybalion. This book, on which the universe is founded upon, has teachings that can be used to shape reality itself. We won't be talking about all the Hermetic principles, but I do invite you to go ahead and purchase the book if you feel called to. The 7 principles that the book talks about will completely shift your perspective on how reality works and will leave you in awe with the amount of fundamental truths it holds. So going back to Hermes, one of the most powerful teachings that has allowed me to discover the essence of reality itself was his first principle, the principle of mentalism, which is, and I quote, "The all is mind. The universe is mental." You might be saying, that's impossible. How can it be possible that everything is mental if I can see things around me and I can touch things around me? There is matter, there is physicality, right? Let me first unpack the theory, and if you stay by the end of this video, I will be able to explain how to practically apply this single principle, because there is ways of practically applying it. But for that, we first have to discover and unpack the theory. So let's go ahead and do that. What does it mean when Hermes tells us the universe is mental? What this means, simply put, is that you are not your body or your ego, but that your body or your ego is simply a vehicle for the greater mind's energy of creation. Everything you see around yourself is simply a manifestation or materialization of your thoughts in your mind. That could be a singular mind or a collective mind. Now again, you might be saying, this doesn't make sense. How is that possible? Or what is a singular mind or a collective mind? So for that, let me unpack that again by giving you 2 different examples of 2 different types of mind. You can understand what a singular mind is, what a collective mind is, and what we mean by the universe is mental. Let's start with the singular mind. For this, the best example I can think about is an iPhone. You probably know what an iPhone is, unless you live under a rock. I don't think you're Patrick the Star. So if you know what Apple, the brand, is, you know that the original founder was Steve Jobs, right? So if Steve Jobs thought about creating everything that he created with Apple, where did the iPhone come from? What initially made it appear? Because it didn't come out of the blue, right? It did actually come from a thought in his mind. But how was it a thought in his mind? That's actually a funny story. It came after Jobs came back from the all-in-one farm commune in Oregon. He told his partner, Wozniak, that he had seen apples in the apple orchard, and out of the blue, he thought about apples. Apple was the name of the brand. Most of the things that we see outside of ourselves, most of the physical things that we see, usually came back from a thought in somebody's mind, which then used a collective mind to make it part of reality. Now, what is a collective mind? So before we get into what is a collective mind, let's just hit an objection here. How come if everything we see outside of ourselves came from a thought, we've heard about the law of attraction, what you think becomes a reality. If I'm thinking 3,000 thoughts a day, how come 3,000 things are not appearing in my reality? That's because you're not using your mind. You're using the programming that was imposed into your mind. But now let's go back to what a collective mind is. For that, the best example I can think about is the Matrix. We've all heard about the Matrix, right? We're living in a simulation. Did you actually stop to think, what is the Matrix? Or is the Matrix possible? No, you simply are spitting back what you heard from a movie, maybe the movie Matrix, or a YouTuber, maybe Luke Belmar, or one of these YouTubers, right? Or simply by society itself. Were you even aware, and I'm using the simple, stupid metaphor of the Matrix, that there is actually 2 two types of matrix: the success matrix and the consciousness matrix. The success one is the one that everybody talks about. The become successful, escape the matrix. The other one, consciousness matrix, is more like become conscious of the reality you're living in, and then you escape the matrix. But we're not gonna get into how stupid the matrix is. Just think about the ideology, the belief, the fact that people think that the matrix is real. That is the power of a collective mind. Can you see the difference between a singular mind and a collective mind? If you can't, I'm gonna paint you a picture. A singular mind came from a thought in Steve Jobs' mind, one thought. Then a collective mind is the same thought over and over and over again that then influenced reality. Can you see how it's all mental? Either by a singular mind in the case of Steve Jobs, or a collective mind in the case of the Matrix ideology. That's because our mind is powerful, but a collective mind is influential. Your mind can change your reality, but the collective mind can change reality itself. Now can you understand how important it is to develop your own mind before you go ahead and achieve success, get a relationship, or even build the dream body that you think you want to build? I could give you a gazillion different examples of how the principle of the universe is mental works, but I want to give you the ability to experience it, to have a direct experience. So I want you to reverse and engineer everything you see outside of yourself and think, where did this came from? If you see a candle in your room, where did it come from? Who thought of it? Who had the idea and then became a reality? Was it just a singular mind that then out of the blue came into reality, or was it a singular mind that then used a collective mind to bring whatever you have in front of you to reality? This process will allow you to see that everything you see outside of yourself came from a mind, either a collective mind or a singular mind. The more examples you have, the more you realize how the principle works. For that, I want you to go ahead and comment down below the different examples that you find so that we can discuss them, and later down the line I can even make a video about the gazillion different examples that there is to show that everything comes from a thought in the mind. Now that you understood that theory, I can already feel your body craving the practicality and the real world solutions, the systems to implement. How can I apply this into my life? Because what I've been saying until now, it's simply mental masturbation, right? There has to be a way to achieve success using this principle. Let me see. Are this the questions popping into your mind right now? How can I master my mind? How can I apply this principle to my life? Why should it benefit me to know this? Why should I care about this? How can I benefit from knowing this? How can I take advantage of this principle to win? Before we answer all the questions that are coming into your mind and how your mind affects the mind out there is a deeper level, because Apple, the brand, came from Steve Jobs' mind, which then impregnated that collective. All the people started talking about Apple. Apple got voiced over and the collective mind got impregnated and Apple came to be. The other way around with the collective mind. The Matrix is an ideology that a lot of people started to believe, then started speaking about it and thinking about it, which then impregnated every singular mind and led a lot of people to believe that it was real. But there's a deeper level to it, because where did trees come from? Where did volcanoes come from? Where did everything that came before us come from? Here is when you discover the deeper layers of reality and what it means to say the all is mine. Because see, you've seen everything outside of yourself as matter, right? As something that you can touch. But there is a deeper layer to everything you see, because everything you see outside of yourself is consciousness. And in your mind, you have consciousness. Your mind is consciousness. It's at a state of consciousness. The lower the state of your consciousness, the less conscious you are, and the less you realize that your mind is the same type of mind that a tree has, that a dog has, that a plane has, that the collective mind has, because we all have the same mind. We are all a mind. But here is the catch. The single mind is my mind thinking a thought, trying to make it a reality. The collective mind is a bunch of singular minds thinking the same thought over and over again, then impregnating more and more singular minds. That's a duality. But when you get into the realms of non-duality and you start understanding that your mind has deeper layers to it, you start realizing that consciousness lives inside of your mind, lives inside of the collective mind, and lives inside of everything that you see outside of yourself. But how do you access this consciousness? For that, we have to change your paradigm, change your programming. It all comes down to your mind and what's in your mind. Are you even aware of what's in your mind? Because let's talk about it. This is how it works. A thought in your mind leads to an intention. That intention leads to a feeling. that feeling leads to an action. A bunch of actions create a habit. Repeated habits create a programming. That's how you work as a body, as an ego, as a human. But when you become self-conscious, when you become conscious of your own thoughts through meditation, self-inquiry, journaling, and various other type of methods, you start becoming more conscious of the deeper layers of your own mind. But I don't want to get into that just yet. I'm planning on making a video on that later down the line. For now, let's go back to your simple ego or body. The formula was simple. Remember? Thought, intention, feeling, action, habit, programming. So you want to change the programming that you have right now, change your thoughts. Simple, right? It is simple, but it's not easy. Because simple does not mean easy. How do we create a new programming? Pick the right thought. How do you pick the right thought? Let's think about it together. Are your thoughts even yours? Do you even think an original thought? Do you even think by yourself? I know you're probably gonna say, yes, definitely. I mean, what type of thoughts am I having if they're not mine? I mean, they're coming from my mind, right? Not just quite. Let's go back to the beginning. You were imposed the life you're living. You were imposed the thoughts you're thinking. You were imposed the programming that you currently have, that you're acting from. How? Because you don't have a choice. Because you never had a choice. Because you won't have a choice until you become self-conscious. Until you become conscious of your own mind. Repeating your programming. Let's think about it again. You were born. You were given a home. You were given parents, a family, a set of values and teachings from that family. And then as you grew older, you started pursuing certain goals, right? But what goals were this? Society's goals. Goals imposed by society, by people that came before you. And what goals were those? I don't know. I ask you. Is it making more money? Is it having more sex or a relationship? Or is it building your dream body? Or none of it? Each of these goals are imposed by society because society values this as important. It's normal. It's basic survival need. I mean, making more money, we all need to make more money to be alive. Getting a relationship, having sex, it's a basic instinct of a human. Getting a better body is a basic instinct. It comes from the beginnings of time. We needed to protect ourselves, so we need a better body to protect ourselves. But here comes the catch. Society has put you in a loop thinking that you have to live in survival mode, surviving all of the time, even when you are in the higher echelons. But let me get to that just now. Wait. So it's basic survival needs. But then if you've been surviving, why do you want to make more money? Why do you want to live a different life? Because you're not conscious that you're trying to chase a feeling. You're no longer trying to survive. You're now chasing a feeling. And what feeling is that? The next echelon. Because where does the echelons come from? Let's go back to the greatest mind that created the self-actualization pyramid, Maslow. He talks about the first pyramid being the survival need. Food, sex, shelter, water, basic survival need. But then the next echelon, status, money, fame, recognition, being known. Now, that's what society nowadays calls it thriving. After surviving, you start thriving. That is your self-made millionaires, that is your famous celebrities, that is the people that have the body that you want, they have the ripped abs, they have everything that you want. Those are thriving. Society has reached that point. They're thriving. But even at that point, you're still playing a game, the ego's game, your body game, because you are not self-conscious yet. There are higher echelons. After thriving, you start creating. After creating, you start playing. But we're not gonna get into that. That's a topic for another video. Let's go back to you've been living in survival mode. And why do I think you've been living in survival mode? Because let me ask you this, and you can ask yourself. Have everything you've been doing in life revolved around making more money or paying the bills? Most people think that they cannot do it through actual play. They think they actually have to sacrifice because that is basic survival instincts. I sacrifice, I achieve. That's not how it works. But I mean, I'm crazy, right? I might be kind of crazy, but that's not the point here. The actual point I'm trying to make here is get you to realize that you are a pawn to somebody's game, to somebody else's game. And if you want to become a king, then you have to start playing your own game, or at least become conscious of the game you're playing and win the game to then start playing your own game. I'm going to make a video about that. It's a whole other video that I have about how your current life is a game of chess and that it has a paradox, which winning is actually making you lose, and if you lose, you're actually winning. But that's a whole other video. Again, I just want to talk about the fact that you are a pawn. If you want to stop being a pawn to somebody else's game, all you have to do is become conscious of the fact that you've been surviving, that your goals have been impregnated into your mind by the collective mind. Because like I said before, you should not be thinking about, oh, where does a tree come from? I mean, that cannot be from a mind. You're not ready for that. Don't think about anything that has already come before you. Think about the things that you've been thinking. So what I mean by that is, for example, why do you want to pursue more money? Why do you think that having more fame is going to make you feel better? Or why do you think that a better body is going to make you feel better? I mean, those type of thoughts, those type of things that you're thinking, where did they come from? Was that a collective mind thought? Or was it a singular mind that one day decided to think, this is the thing to pursue? That's how you realize the game that you're playing and the fact that you're a pawn. Because when you start thinking and you start realizing and you start asking yourself, oh my god, all of my thoughts are not mine. They came from somebody else. That's what I meant when I told you. Your thoughts are not yours. You're just spitting back what you were told, either from your parents, from your friends, or from society itself. When will you start creating or thinking your own thoughts? Because once you start thinking your own thoughts, you'll start becoming your own person. You'll start discovering your own self. And then if you can actually get deeper, you'll discover your true self. And if you discover your true self, you'll be able to contribute to society from your true nature, from your heart, and not even from your heart, from your true essence, from the consciousness that we all share. And if you do that, the contribution you make to society would make society a better living place for all of us. But I'm just daydreaming right now, right? I mean, like Martin Luther King once said, I have a dream. I mean, I can keep dreaming. I would love for people to start realizing that they have something inside of them that they can unlock to then contribute to getting more than $10,000 a month. I mean, if you have $10,000 a month, but you're doing it sacrificing all of your day, or even if you have the time to do whatever you want, the money to travel everywhere, or the fact that you can move around the world, even if you have the freedom that you so much desire, what does it give you? What does it truly give you? Do you know what the meaning of life is? See, all I'm trying to do is get you to realize that whatever you're pursuing, whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking came from a thought, but the fact that you don't know where it came from should actually panic you. And you should find where it came from, so that then you can start changing that thought, creating a new programming, and start creating a new life, a life that you want. And it all comes down to one single principle: realizing that all is a mind. But where did the thought initially come from? You might be asking yourself, okay, so how can I create a new programming for myself? How can I get to the core, to the seed? How can I get to the seed of all of this? Where did my initial thoughts go? Or how can I find an original thought? Well, to do that, I won't give you the solution, because the first step to getting there is stop trying to look for it out there. Look for it in here or in here, because the fact that you're looking for me to give you the solution, or you're looking for someone to give you the system, the roadmap, the solution, already should tell you that you're taking your power and giving it away. So first step, take your power back and start looking for the answers yourself. Endure the pain of suffering, of failure, of inexperience, and then start failing, start experiencing, start experimenting. And with time, you'll find the solution. Second step, I won't give you the solution, but I can guide you. That is my purpose. I'm here to let you know that there are thoughts that you're not having, that you could have to create a better life for yourself, or that there are questions that you're not asking yourself that you could be asking yourself to lead to a better life, or that there are simple things that you're not seeing, that you're not conscious of, that I want to bring into your awareness, so you can have the choice to change or not change. After all, it all relies on your mind and what's in your mind. I could never tell you what to think. It's all a choice in your mind. You can still keep thinking the same thoughts you were thinking about TikTok, about whatever you were thinking, or you can think about hedonism and making more money and making more money, or you can finally go deeper into your soul, into yourself, into who you really are, and start finding the answers yourself. But if I want to start unlocking your mental programming and I want to start unlocking your mind, how can I do that if I'm over here and you're over there? Well, I don't need to be over there and I don't need to be in your mind. Remember, all is mind. The mind that you have is the mind that I have. So what I achieved, you can achieve. What did I achieve? Oh, I didn't achieve success. I don't have $10 million in my bank account. I don't have 30 girls coming up and asking me for my number. I don't have ripped abs. All I have is a choice to do whatever I want in my life without thinking about how society is going to think about it, what society is going to think about, what my friends are going to think about. I have my own power. I became the king. Now I want to let you have the choice to do so. Cool. So now you might be thinking I'm a kind of narcissistic or egocentric. I'm simply showing you what you're capable of achieving once you start unlocking your mental program. So that's my purpose. That's my point. Unlocking your mental programming. Now I promised you a practical solution. It's going to be different than your normal practical solution. This is not going to be a roadmap. This is not going to be a system to follow. This is not going to be your typical, I'm going to tell you what to do. You only have to follow the system. Not the same thing. What I'm going to do, you should be asking yourself, so that then you can find the answers. And whenever you go looking for the answers, don't ask Google. Don't ask YouTube. Don't ask TikTok. Ask your soul. Ask yourself. And then don't stop looking for the answer, because you're never gonna get to the answer. It's not about getting to the answer. It's not about the outcome. It's no longer about getting to $10,000 a month, or getting the ripped abs, or getting the 10 chicks to respond to you through Tinder. It's about enjoying the journey, learning from that journey, experiencing the journey, experimenting with whatever comes from the journey, and then eventually getting to a different outcome you never even imagined could be possible to get to. So without any mumbo jumbo, here is the 5 questions that you have to ask yourself. First question, who am I? Am I my body, my name, my status, my career, my job, my material possessions, my relationship. Who am I truly and fundamentally? Number 2, what am I? A body, soul, a personality? What am I truly in my core? 3, what have been the things that I do throughout my life that I genuinely desired to do? 4, when was the last time I had the chance to choose to have the life I wanted for myself? 5, what steps have I taken to move in the direction that I want my life to be going in? 6, now, like I said before, you are not supposed to ask anybody, to ask Google, to ask TikTok. You're supposed to look for the answer. You want the best way to look for the answers? Grab a notebook, blank notebook, grab a pen, sit down, ask yourself the question, and start writing. Just write. Whatever comes to mind. Watch your hand start moving by itself. Start writing and writing and writing and writing. And you'll finally see how the answers start coming. And it's not the answers that you want. They're gonna come like drops of thoughts, because you're not gonna get the answers writing on a notebook. You're gonna have to go through a process. And if you already went through this process, now I'm talking to the people that already went through this kind of process and they're deeper into this. If you already went through this process, start asking new questions. This is a call for you to ask new questions. You should never stop asking questions. If you keep asking the right questions, you're always gonna get to the right answers, and you're always gonna get to your true self. Now, I've been talking about the true self. What is the true self? Another video that I want to make about that is yourself is not your body, it's not your ego. It is more than you can see, more than you can think, more than you can feel. There is facets. It's like a cave. There's a lot that you're not seeing yet. So I want to make a video about that. That's coming up. Stay tuned to that. With that being said, that is everything I wanted to cover in this video. That's everything I wanted to talk about. So if you liked the video, you liked the ideas that I proposed, you liked the way I explained it, please go ahead, like the video, put post notifications so you always get a notification when I post a video, because remember, it's me empowering you by giving you the mental tools you need to become better in your own life, to create a better life. And another thing, comment down below if you are ready to see behind the veil of illusion. If you are ready, please give me, what are you going to try? How are you going to go ahead and answer these questions? I want to know. Are you going to journal? Are you going to meditate? Are you going to go ask somebody? What are you going to do to actually start asking the right questions? I want to know, because that way I can see how other people are thinking, how other people are going to go about it. With that being said, that is everything. That has been all the things that I have to say. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay alert, and go outside and conquer, king or queen.